Hey guys, I wanted to start a little bit of a reading vlog just to update kind of on my books and the next kind of, I don't know, things that I'm reading because I love reading and sharing about books. And anyways, this is a reading vlog. We're starting off strong with the book that I just started, the series. It is so amazing so far. It is a 5-book series, which is all basically compiled into this book. So the 5 books are mini. I've just finished the first book of 5, which is like 100 and something pages in. Yeah, just over 100 pages in, and just started the second one, and I am absolutely loving this book. It is so much better than, it's not that I didn't think I would like it, I just wasn't sure how I was going to respond to it, because this is actually a romance book, which is about a serial killer, and the love interest is the FBI agent who is on her case, essentially. And so it's very graphic and gruesome, which is more of the things that I normally read, is like these mysteries and kind of psychological thrillers. And James Patterson has been my go-to author since I was like a kid. Like, he's been my favorite author for as long as I can remember. And so anyways, those books are kind of like sometimes gruesome or have, you know, kind of gruesome content in them. So I picked this one up and I am so obsessed with it so far. Book 1 was so good and it trailed so perfectly into book 2. I am obsessed. I can't wait to keep reading. The dynamic between the characters, like, it's not so, I just like am loving everything about it. It's so amazing. The dynamic between the characters are really good. The storyline and the plot is super interesting. She is obviously a very interesting character. It is dual POV as well, so yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And that is my update from this book so far. We will see where this video takes us. The only other thing that I'll say right now is I'm also in the middle of, and this will be something that I'm reading like a little bit slowly, but it's Diamond Heart, book 1. This is a, how am I even going to talk about this? I don't even know. I've been on a little bit of like a spiritual journey kind of recently, just because I find it very interesting to study and think about, and my therapist actually, I was recommended this book as like a different way of thinking or a different teaching in terms of learning about your essence and your being and just getting kind of more connected to you and the real kind of person that's inside. These are much bigger, higher thoughts that I currently do not have the words to accurately describe. But anyways, I'm in the middle of this, which is book 1. There's 5 in this kind of series, I guess, if you can call it that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I love this type of thing, and I'm probably not going to talk about it much more than that because it's definitely a very individual kind of journey of learning that I'm going on right now. But that is my update of reading so far, and yeah, let's just get into it. I have a little update on the Mindf series. It is so good. I am on now chapter 9, book 2, page 179, and I love it so much. I already want to reread it. I'm not even like close to halfway and I already know that I want to reread it. That is such a good feeling. I've only had that feeling a couple times with books, and I don't want to speak like too soon, but like this is going so well. I'm so happy. Also, look how cute that the bus looks right now. I got my little blue lights on and my little fairy lights on. And look at my beautiful bookshelf. It's so pretty. So far, so good. So good. friends. I wanted to give a little update because I was able to read a little bit more last night. I am now on, I think, not quite halfway, but partly through book 5, so the last book in the series. It's definitely getting wrapped up, but oh my goodness, the mystery of it was so good. And I have to say, like, I am still really enjoying it. It is slowing down because I think it just needs to like wrap up basically in this last kind of book. But the title is correct because some of the plot points in here are messed up for real, but I am enjoying it so much, so I would heavily recommend this so far. Again, I'll give my final thoughts once I actually finish the last book, but so far it has been so good, and I just, yeah, I really love it. There is a lot of darker themes obviously in here. The one thing that I was thinking yesterday, which I don't think I mentioned, is obviously one of my favorite authors is James Patterson. I have so many more of his books. This is just my featured shelf of him in the bus because, you know, I have many more books at home. And obviously his books do have some themes of romance in them, but like not really. It's just kind of like another piece of the characters' lives, so they kind of like include it in some of the books. Some of them are a little bit heavier in the, like, I know Book Talk calls it like spice, but I'm just gonna say like sex scenes. Like some of them are a little bit heavier in that than others. By no means are they at all like part of the plot really, or like have a big connection. Like I said, it's usually just because that's like part of the characters' lives. But in this one, I will definitely say like the mystery and the like gruesome parts and the killings and the reasons behind it and all of it is definitely a big part of the plot, which I'm enjoying so much. But there is, I don't even know that this is like romance. That is a huge bird. What the heck? Sorry. I don't even know that I would necessarily consider this like romance at all. It's literally just like mystery, serial killers, and then like sex scenes. So sometimes they're not like too long or in detail. Like sometimes it's a little bit of like a fade to black situation, but I will just say it's they're very hot and heavy. It's not even a relationship between like the characters of them. It's literally just like sex and also murder. That's how I describe this book. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, and that is my little update so far. Bad dreams at like 4:30 this morning, so I started reading and I've gotten so close to the end, but it is about 2 minutes until I have to start work. But I have one more like chapter until the epilogue, and then it's done. And I just want to keep reading and finish it, but I need to log on to work, so hopefully I can get a little break in a bit and then finish this book. But it's so good. Hey team, little book update so far. You can see my hilarious workstation and setup here because we're partway through my work day. So, finished the Mindfuck series yesterday, so I started Wolfsong last night. This is a fantasy series, or the beginning of the fantasy series, by TJ Klune, and I did read Under the Whispering Door by him, and I really enjoyed the concept of that story, and the start of that story fell off a little bit for me at the end, but I really did enjoy it and would like to kind of see more of his books and more of his writing style, so I picked this one up kind of randomly. It is supposed to be like a fantasy romance in some way, so we'll see how that goes, but it is definitely like an adult read. It literally gives a warning on like the first page, like this is for adult readers only, so we'll see. Yeah, there's currently 4 books out in this series right now. It seems so far, I mean, the writing style is very interesting. I'm really engaged. The very beginning is really short, concise sentences, and I think that's because we're trying to introduce a character who I think is in human form but might be like a wolf. I'm not really sure if that's true, and I also just decided to go in a little bit blind and like not reread the inside cover before I started this book, so yeah, so far so good, but I think I only made it like, I don't know, yeah, 30 pages in last night, so I will keep you updated. This is our next read. So I wanted to give a little update of Wolfsong. I am currently on page 162, so I'm not quite halfway, but I'm really enjoying this, like way more than I thought I would so far. It's really neat and interesting, and the writing style is so different. Like, I've read one other of TJ Klune's books, and the writing style in this is like completely different from the other one, so I am really happy about it. I think I might have said this before, it's nothing like Frederick Bachman's writing, but that's the only thing that I can kind of compare it to. The sentences are really short and jumpy, and the storyline is extremely choppy, meaning like it just goes from one thought to another, and from one timeline to like a few days later, or like a second later, or it's like a year later. Like, it really jumps. It doesn't jump like back and forth in time, but it really jumps through a timeline very quickly. Like, we've already made it through multiple years of these characters' lives in like 100 and something pages. So yeah, it's really different than a lot of other books that I've read, but I really am enjoying it. I feel like very connected to the main character and the way that like he thinks, and I think it's because the writing style is so unique that I feel kind of connected in the same way as like A Man Called Ove. Like, the writing style is so, I don't know other words to describe it because it's so interesting and cool. It's very different. I don't even know if I had any expectations going into this, and we'll see kind of where the story goes from here. Obviously on the back, like I said, it says fantasy romance on it, which like I kind of assumed that there would be that aspect, but I'm just not sure how heavy that aspect is going to be as we kind of continue on and move forward. It's definitely been prevalent, but I would say in terms of like Powerless, which is kind of the only thing that I have to compare it to, obviously they're very different writing styles, and like this one has a warning for like adult readers only, but it's definitely like on a better scope, like a deeper level in terms of the romance plot, and also just like better, like it's just written better. I don't know how else to say that. It's just very cool. It's very unique. It's very fantasy. Like, I feel like I am in this world when I'm reading this book, which is really cool. The very front, you know how like they usually have quotes about like different authors that will write about, you know, the book and things like that, and usually I like will read them and I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice, but I won't like attach to them. But this one on the very front cover says, Wolfsong is so well written that I am in awe of TJ Klune's talent. I actually agree with that. I actually feel that. Like, so far in the book, I've been a little bit in awe as well. Like I said, I've already read one of his other books and it did not feel like this one. So yeah, it's been very good so far. I will keep you updated on it, but also, I mean, I love the cover art of this book. Like, I just think that it is. Anyways, I just think it's really pretty. So, yeah. That's my update. Good morning. I know I look a little bit silly right now because it is like 6:30 in the morning, but I just have to say I'm a little bit further through Wolfsong. I just can't believe how good this book is. I think I just really did not expect to love it so much or love it at all. I think I just really didn't expect that at all. At all. And so I'm just like so blown away. And like so the writing style is just so cool. It is changing as the book goes on a little bit, but I just feel so connected to these characters, and I don't know, I'm just so intrigued by this story. Like literally, I'm not even 200 pages in. There's still much more of this book left, and if it ended here, I feel like that would be good. Like, and there's 4 books in this series. I don't know. I mean, I have so much more to go. It's almost like I don't want to get my hopes up for some reason, but also, like, why is it so good? There's just so much happening so quickly. Yeah, I'm so connected to the characters. Why is it so good? Okay, on Wolfsong, I am so close to being done now. I'm on page 465 right now. Something that's really cool, which I did not mention earlier, is a lot of the chapters, almost all of them actually, start with this cute little bear image and then like 2 titles kind of thing, which is really cool. I kind of want to like, I never ended up doing this, but I'm getting a call, hang on. Okay, a client just called me, but whatever, it's gonna have to kind of wait till tomorrow because all my team members are done work for the day. So okay, back to Wolfsong. So good. I would say past half it started to get, you know how I was talking about the writing style before, it was very like short and choppy because it really mimicked the way that the main character was like thinking and processing thoughts. Like everything was very short, to the point, choppy. The main character like does have a little bit of a harder time expressing themselves, and so that was really conveyed very well through the writing style in the first majority of the book. Now that I'm in kind of the latter half of the book, I would say the timeline is changed completely. The first half goes through so many events, so many years, so quickly, and then the back half now it's kind of slowed down in the timing, and so you're really getting a lot of detail in basically all the events that are going on in the story, and it's just a really cool way. Hopefully it's not giving away anything, it's just a very cool way to write this book. I am like enjoying it so much. It's blowing my mind a little bit, but yeah, I'm really excited to finish it now. I really have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm literally like within you can see like a few pages of the end, and like I have no idea what's gonna happen. It's kind of funny too because there's an excerpt at the back about Under the Whispering Door, one of TJ Klune's other books, which I've actually read and I reviewed in my winter reading wrap-up from last year, if you saw that video. This is nothing like that, so I am really happy that I took another chance on this author. Not that I was like writing them off completely, and I definitely didn't hate that book at all, but this is very different and I'm really enjoying it very much. This has nothing to do with reading, but this is what my day has been like so far, because I have these guys that are staying near me now, and apparently they always camp in this spot that I'm currently parked in. So they like came and knocked on my door earlier and said like, are you planning on staying here, because like we always camp at this spot. And I was like, okay, I wasn't planning on moving, but like I can if I find another spot for me to go. And I was like, can you see if there's another spot for you to like stay, basically. It was very awkward, but I was in the middle of my work day. I had like a meeting in like 10 minutes. I didn't know what to do. Anyways, these 5 guys showed up. Now they're building this whole massive, looks like a freaking complex at this point. They've got propane tanks holding down like multiple sides of this tent. Like, yeah, it's been a process. They've been building this thing for like, I don't know, the past few hours. So I did walk over there and I was like, are you guys okay here? Because they asked me to move and I felt kind of bad, but as you can probably tell, my bookshelf, maybe you can't, but my bookshelf is also tilted downwards because I broke it coming in here. I've broken these brackets now twice, driving over like an insanely big bump. The first one, was over a railroad track and I did not slow down enough, and I had no idea that it was going to be that much of like a dent. There was no signs on the road or anything. Whole mistake. But the rest of the bus was fine. This one, I was coming in here and I knew that the roads were rutted out on some sides, but I was like, one of the sides of the roads looks okay, so I'm gonna go down there. But as I was entering, there's this huge pit like right at the beginning, like a huge rut, and I hit it and then got like stuck and then panicked, so then I hit the gas so that I would like get myself out, because I don't know, I just didn't want to get stuck and I was panicking, and then hit the back so hard. Luckily nothing else broke, which is great, but I did re-bend one of these brackets, so all my books fell off and now I have a bent shelf part 2, unfortunately. Anyway, that's my book update for now and my living situation update. I will finish this tonight at some point. I need to do a workout and I've been prolonging going outside because I don't know, weird vibes with them setting up right there. I mean, I have the other side of my bus, which like no one can see, so that's why I wanted to keep this spot, because I have a little private side so I can actually go do my workouts outside and like hang out outside and not feel like I'm being watched. But yeah, that's my little update. So I'll speak to you guys probably after I finish this book. Hello and happy Sunday. I wanted to give a little bit of a book update. I've just been cleaning the bus, so I look a little bit disheveled, but that's what Sundays are for, am I right? So I did end up finishing Wolfsong, and it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really film much of me actually reading Wolfsong, but I read it in pretty big chunks and really consistently, because I just truly really enjoyed my whole time reading that book. And over the last week / this weekend, I did indeed start Magnolia Park's Long Way Home, which is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Parks series. You can see most of them here behind me. Essentially, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, this series is a romance series essentially, and the entire concept of the book is like, do you only get one love of a lifetime? And how many loves then do you get in a lifetime if the answer isn't one? And it's between these two kind of main characters, BJ and Magnolia, and their kind of story essentially as a couple and then as not a couple, but it's just their whole story. And it's kind of, I've heard it described as like a Gossip Girl kind of situation. I've never seen Gossip Girl, so I'm not going to use that comparison, but if you kind of know what that means, I'll leave it be there, because I have heard many people compare it to that. Essentially, these are like the very high elite society in London and their whole friend group and all of the dynamics that goes on between that friend group, BJ and Magnolia being 2 parts of it as well. They've been raised in border schools and private schools since they were like itty bitty together. Obviously they're always out at these big events, like clothes and fashion is like a really big part of this whole series because it's like Magnolia's passion. And yeah, anyway, the first book I have already read twice. I read it like back to back, like I reread it basically right after I finished it, and that book ripped my heart out. It was so amazing and good. Just the storyline between the characters feel very real. The storyline is just so heart-wrenching. Like, none of the characters are making the best decisions all the time. I think it's a love-or-hate series because you're either just like so frustrated with the mistakes that the characters are making or the series of events that they just decide to do because they're so flawed as human beings, but that makes it so real to me, and like I just connect so much to this book. So essentially the first book is Magnolia Parks, then the second book is Daisy Hates. Now there's essentially the second, I'm gonna call it a friend group in that same world, Daisy Hates being one of them and one of the members of the like Hates family, and kind of their relationships between everything. They do cross over slightly because again they're all in this kind of like high elite London society kind of thing, but the Hates family is a mob family, kind of gangster vibes. And so yeah, that's kind of that romance situation, but also it's like it's written very different, I feel like, because it's obviously a very different setting and like world that they're in, even though as we know it's in the exact same world. But yeah, so anyways, Magnolia Parks, then Daisy Hates, then we have Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home. the next books in the series are The Second Daisy Hates and then The Magnolia Parks is the third one after that. But it's been amazing. I've already been tabbing so much and I can't wait to keep you guys updated on it because these books just have me ruined. Hi, sorry, this is Editing Ellie here, but I didn't realize that I forgot to actually mention an audiobook that I listened to. I've listened to a couple during this kind of span of this reading vlog, but one I definitely really wanted to point out was Elevation by Stephen King. Not a horror of his at all, but just such a wonderful book and such an interesting concept. I listened to the entire, I think it was like 6 hours or something, the entire audiobook all the way straight through for one day, driving and cleaning and reorganizing. It was just really, really good. So I would highly recommend that as well. Okay, I'm almost at the very end of Magnolia Parks and I am stressed out because it's going well at this very moment and I'm so close to the end. And this book, this series, it's like a whole roller coaster. The first one like broke my heart and then put it together and then smashed it into 8 million pieces, and I am nervous about this one because this one has been more craziness and I'm so close to the end and it's going well and I'm very nervous about it. So we're gonna try and film me finishing the rest of this book. I know I can't say very much about it, but I'm very nervous. I didn't cry this whole book. What just happened? What just happened? My camera died, but I was just not expecting that at all. I kind of thought that something would happen. But what is going on? I didn't expect that at all. Oh my god. What? Okay, I have made it just today to page 93 in this book. The chapters are all kind of written like this, but this book is really good so far. I'm really enjoying it actually. It's written very interestingly. Like the beginning is like as if you bought this as a textbook because you're attending this school or this institution, and so it's written with a very like kind of academic voice, I suppose. And so yeah, it's really, really interesting. It does go into different characters' points of view, and there is like throughout kind of these little like sketches to give you an idea of kind of like what the campus looks like, but obviously it is fairly secretive, so we're not really supposed to know much about it. But the book is so interesting so far. I'm really enjoying it. Essentially, we have our main character, Cliff, who doesn't know that he's attending this school. Like, he didn't apply for this school or anything, but he actually has a anonymous sponsor who's sending him through this school because Cliff tried to murder his employer. And so now he is being put into this school, I assume to sharpen his skills and learn some more about it. And we're kind of just like meeting a bunch of the main characters right now, some of the different students who are also at the school, understanding the different like routines and, you know, day by day like schedule breakdowns and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really interesting. It feels very, I don't really know what to compare it to other than like that atmosphere of like Hogwarts, or like a very, you know, like just a place like that. When I was reading Fourth Wing last year, I kind of mentioned the same thing. Like, I really just enjoy being in that, like, just being, so my battery's gonna die, just being in that kind of environment of like the school and the academic kind of setting, but in such like a cool way. And so this is definitely giving in. Also, the cover is absolutely beautiful. I love this so much. I will keep you updated, but so far, really good. Okay, we've got an update on Murder Your Employer. This book is so good so far. I am, oh my gosh, I'm almost halfway. I'm on page 150, which is close to halfway. And it is so good. Essentially, I think I said this before, but the beginning of the book is kind of written like a textbook, like as if you're a student that's going to be like entering the academy, essentially. And then it just goes through a bunch of journals of current students at the academy and all the different like classes and stuff they learn. It is so unique and inventive, and the different things that this author comes up with that like are all different plots of other kind of mystery, like murder mysteries that happen. But it's like how you learn to do that. Like, how do you learn to have an alibi, and how do you learn the different ways that poison interacts with each other? And they're like tested, but like in real time. So at any time, like, another student can potentially test you, meaning they could set up like a murder situation, and you basically have to get yourself out of it. And then that's graded by like the professors and stuff. And so it is so good. I just absolutely am in love with this cover as well. But the whole storyline is so fun and so interesting. It is still written, it's not like a YA in terms of the, yeah, so the writing style is a little bit more kind of sophisticated, but it's so good. It's really easy to like get through, but it's so creative in all of the different things that the writer puts into this book in terms of like all the different lessons that the students are learning, and just building the whole world of this academy, because obviously it's completely secretive, like no one else in the world knows clearly that this place exists, and getting to meet all the different professors and all the different like people kind of in the world and responsible for these students. And we also get to see the behind the scenes as well of stuff that the students don't get to see, and it is so good. Like I said, I'm only halfway in and I cannot recommend this book enough. Giving a little reading update. As you guys can tell, it is getting close to Halloween because I have my little ghost lights in the back, and I put little stickers on my window here, and we've got a pumpkin up on my porch, which is my stairs up front. But I wanted to film a little reading update. So we are just over 3/4 through Murder Your Employer. Still so good, amazing. I am loving it. I'm loving every minute of it, honestly. But on my phone, I also have, I just finished The Maidens as an audiobook, and it was really good, actually. I really enjoyed it. It was so different from what I thought it was going to be. This is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, who also writes The Silent Patient, which I read like a couple years ago now. I thought the book was good, but I didn't think it was worth the hype that everyone was giving it, just because I thought it was good, but I've read better mysteries and thrillers before. But the fun part about The Maidens is you do get a tiny bit of like character crossover from The Maidens and The Silent Patient, because you have a little cameo by some of the characters in The Silent Patient, so that is really fun. And then now, I don't know why this is so random, but I got a skip the line loan, which means you get a book for 7 days. This is from my library, this app. And so I got Emily Henry's Funny Story on a 7-day loan. And so I've been reading that the past 2 days, I think. And I'm just gonna try and like basically blow through the whole thing to try and get it done in these 7 days. But it's been so good so far. I don't know why. I love the female character. I've read one other Emily Henry book, which was actually for a similar reason, because I found it on this library app and it was available for 7 days, and I picked it up on the Friday and then blew through it and just read it the whole weekend on my phone. That was the first book I ever read and finished on my phone. Yeah, and so now I have Funny Story, and it's actually so good. Emily Henry's writing is very different than what I thought it was going to be. Kind of going in, I thought it was going to be, well, I don't know, I guess, but it's really good. I'm really connecting to the characters, and the main girl in this book is like works at a library. And it's so wholesome and cozy, and it's making me look up jobs at a library and what I could do to be a program manager at a library, because, you know, career thoughts and things. So yeah, that is my book update for a little bit, and I'll keep you updated on what's been going on. But it's been such a good reading and audiobook listening couple months, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. I realize I'm currently standing in the water reading this book, and it's been so nice. I have to say, a little update on Funny Story. It got a little bit too, because I'm not really used to reading like just pure romance books, it did get a little bit like too heated too fast, but I'm sure I'll talk about that in the recap once I actually finish the book. But I just read chapter 26. Wait, is that right? Let me check. Chapter 27. And if you know what happens in chapter 27, that part got me. I was really connected to the characters at the beginning. Like I said, I fell off because I felt like it was moving too quickly and in a direction that I just was like, wait, no, I don't feel like I'm there yet. But then that chapter got me. Not like super emotionalized, but just I'm enjoying it. Another book update. I also started Gilded, the audiobook. Yeah, I am loving it so far. I was at the bookstore a couple days ago, and the new one of that series just came out. I think it's called Gold or something like that. And the covers are so beautiful that I just like really wanted to like the book. But when I was reading the synopsis, I just like wasn't 100% sure, because it's basically kind of like a YA fantasy, but it's redone Rumpelstiltskin. And I don't really remember much of Rumpelstiltskin, but I was like, whatever. And then I saw that it was on a skip the line loan at my library for an audiobook, which means I only have it for 7 days. Same thing with this Funny Story book. That's the reason why I got it as well. And so I downloaded it and started it on the way here. It's so good. I am really, really enjoying it, which is great. But I'm going to continue. That's the same author. That's Marissa Meyer's, the same author as the Renegades trilogy, which Renegades was for me. I thought I was really going to love it and be like obsessed with it a lot more than I was with that one. But it was still good. It was still good for sure. So I'm curious about this one, but I'm going to continue in my absolutely can't believe this is real life right now. And I'll give you more updates once I am either further in or potentially even done Funny Story, because I think I'm at like almost 80% done of the book, so. Well, a video update, because I didn't actually conclude when I finished Funny Story, which was shortly after the last clip that I did end up filming. Yeah, it was pretty good, actually. I did enjoy it. I did think that the characters and the scenes moved a little bit too fast. Like I wasn't with them in the movement of the relationship for sure. It was way too fast for me, but having said that, I generally just did enjoy the storyline and the plot and the kind of scenery that was there, so. Honestly, the last couple reading months, I just realized as I'm going through this vlog, like, did I just read all 5 stars? Because what the heck was that? I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about my taste in books if I've been able to pick out like all 5 stars for me. I don't really rate books or rank them typically, but did I just read all 5 stars? That's crazy. officially finished Murder Your Employer last night, and it was so good. My little recap of the book, honestly, it was really good. Like, the vocabulary did stay the same, I would say. Like I mentioned before, it is written kind of like a textbook, but then it also has like case studies about like some of the students and what they did for their final thesis project, and also their time at the school. So it did kind of flip between their time at school and then them completing their thesis project again in these like kind of different case studies of different students. And then it also has like special kind of messages at the very beginning and the very end from like the author or the dean of this college and stuff like that. And at the end, it does maybe allude to the fact that there could be more coming out in this series, because obviously this one is Murder Your Employer, but there are other theses that students have undertaken at this college and at this school, and so maybe there will be more coming out, which would be so good. And I would definitely get and read the next books in these series because it was so fun and great. I know it was a really random pick, but I am absolutely obsessed with this cover. I thought that the book in general was just so good. You can see it's a couple weeks before Halloween right now because I got my little ghosts up there. But yeah, that is my final review of Murder Your Employer. Like, great, really good, highly recommend, very fun. I definitely agree with, there's one of the kind of quotes, I think it was on the back or maybe it was on the front cover, I can't remember, of like some of the reviews that people write about this book, and one of them is just like, I can't believe no one's come up with this premise before. That's exactly how I felt. Like, it was done so well. The scenery was amazing. The whole vibe of being in this like dark academia school, but obviously dark. It was just so great. Yeah, would highly recommend. It also, like, it wasn't far-fetched, as in it was not goofy. Like, it wasn't silly, goofy, that kind of a thing. It was like serious. Like, obviously we're talking about these serious themes, but not in a dark, not really in like a dark twisted way. It was just like very matter of fact, like very science based, it almost felt like, in terms of the writing style, which was super fun. It just went along so well with the theme of this book and everything that they, like the environment that they created, and highly recommend. It was so good. And with that, that is the end of our little reading vlog. So thank you for coming along for the past, I don't know how many books I read in this video, 4 or 5 maybe. So thank you for coming along. I've even added more to my bookshelf now, so we've got lots to get through in the next little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. Give it a like if you did, and I will see you guys in the next one. Just remember, every adventure is worthwhile. Keep sharing those stories. Bye!